Hello everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we are going to learn how to create Xero Invoice on Cognito Forms submission. So here, I am working as a freelancer providing multiple digital marketing services to my clients, businesses and firms. And to collect the inquiries for these clients, I have created a special inquiry form with the help of Cognito Forms. Now, my objective is that as soon as I'm going to receive a new inquiry by the form submission by a new client, I want to create a special invoice in Xero for that same client and the service for which he has opted. To automate this entire process, we will have to set up the connection between Cognito Forms and Xero, and that we are going to do without any coding and any programming skills, simply with the help of Pabbly Connect. So if you also want to learn this amazing automation step by step for your business, for that let me take you all towards my screen. Welcome to my screen everyone. In this video, we are going to learn step by step to automate the entire process of invoice creation for Cognito Forms submission. I am a digital marketing expert and providing consultation services to multiple clients, firms and businesses. My objective is that as soon as I'm going to receive a new request of any of the services which I'm providing through the Cognito form which I have created and attached on my website for the service inquiry by a new client, first of all, I want to create an invoice for that client. When I'm going to send the invoice to the client, when they are going to make the payment according to that, then only I'm going to provide the dates for the consultation, otherwise not. Okay. So in order to automate this entire process, here I'm going to build the connection between Cognito Forms and Xero. And to build this connection, I'm not going to use any kind of coding and any kind of programming skills. I will simply use Pabbly Connect. Pabbly Connect is an amazing automation and integration software which helps us to automate all our daily repetitive tasks without coding or programming skills by setting up the connections between our work applications. With the help of Pabbly Connect, today we are going to build the connection between Cognito Forms and Xero, and that too effortlessly. So let's get started. This is the home page of Pabbly Connect where we can reach by tapping the URL pabbly.com/connect in our browser. After coming over here, we will find two options, sign in and sign up for free. In case if you are already an existing user, just click on sign in to log into your account. But if you are a new user, you have to click on this sign up for free button. It will help you to create a free new account just in 2 minutes. As you will do that, you're going to receive 100 free tasks every month to explore this amazing software and to test multiple automations. Now, as an existing user, I'm going to click on sign in currently. This is all apps section where we can find all the products which are offered by Pabbly. To create our automation, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. So let's click on access now. It has taken us towards the dashboard of Pabbly Connect where we can find all the workflows which we have created. And to save the workflows, we can also create separate folders which we can create like this. Now to create a new workflow, we can click on this create workflow option. As we have done that, a dialog box is appeared in front of us which is asking us to provide a name to this workflow. So first of all, let me provide a name over here. Create Xero Invoice on Cognito Form submission. After giving the name to my workflow, I am going to select the folder. You can see I have list of folders. Among these folders, I am going to select this automations for financial management as my workflow folder because the automation which I am going to create currently is related to finance management. Okay, now I'm going to click on create. As we have done that, a new screen is open in front of us. The screen contains two extremely important windows. We have trigger and actions. So what are trigger and actions? Trigger and actions are the two main concepts, the principles, or we can say these are the building blocks on which the entire automation works. Here the trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. That means the action is a response towards our trigger. So whatever we are going to select in our trigger is going to command the entire workflow and the actions are going to follow that same command. Therefore, we can have only one trigger in any workflow, but we can add as many action steps as we want. So here my objective is that whenever I'm going to receive a new form submission by my client in Cognito Forms, then I want to create a new invoice for that client in my Xero account, okay, according to the service which he has opted. Now, here we are going to take Cognito Forms in trigger and Xero in our action step. When we are going to build the connection between these applications, then we will see that action is going to follow what the trigger commands. Because when the trigger happens, that means when the form is received in Cognito Forms by the client, then only an invoice will be created for that client in Xero for the service, otherwise not. So after understanding the whole concept of trigger and action, let us start creating our automation step by step. To start with the process, first of all, we have to select our trigger application and that will be Cognito Forms. So let's select that quickly. So by using which application you want to start your workflow. Here we have selected Cognito Forms because I want that when the form will be submitted, then I want to start my workflow. So here then we have to select the trigger event, on the happening of which event in Cognito Forms you want to start the workflow. So I want that when the new entry will be made in Cognito Forms, that means when a new form will be submitted, then the response should be captured, and with that response only my workflow should get triggered. Here you can see we have received a webhook URL, and also we have received some instructions. So basically we have to follow the given instructions step by step to insert this webhook URL inside our Cognito Forms. And as we will do that, this webhook URL will then act as a bridge for transferring the data of every new form submission in Cognito Form towards Pabbly Connect. So let us first of all copy the webhook URL, and then I will take you towards my Cognito Forms. Over here, this is the form which I have created. It has following fields: name, email, address, the company name, we have the address of the person or the client, we have the phone number, and the type of service in which the client is interested. We have 3 services: content creation and blogging, website design development, and digital advertising. According to the service which the client is going to select, the invoice will be created. Now after completing the form which you have created, now we have to connect this form. So for that you have to scroll down. Okay, you can see the option of post JSON data to a website. You have to turn the button on by toggling it right. And over here, you have to enter the submit entry point, in which you have to simply enter the webhook URL which you have received from Pabbly Connect. So let us first of all delete the existing URL, and then I'm going to paste a new webhook URL which we have copied just now. As we have done that, now we'll click on save. And as soon as we have clicked on save, the changes are saved. That means our connection between Cognito Forms and Pabbly Connect is built successfully. Now we'll go back towards Pabbly Connect. It is showing waiting for webhook response. This means that now we have to do a test submission. How we are going to do that? By simply submitting the form which we have recently connected. To do that, let me take you back towards my Cognito Forms. As the form is already connected, now we are going to go towards publish. And over here, we are going to open the link of the form in a new tab. So here we have the shareable link. Let me click on this button and it will open the form in front of me in a new tab. And now I'm going to submit the form with some dummy details in front of you so that the response could be captured. And by using that response, we can create the invoice and complete our automation. So let's get started with the name first of all. So let's say the first name of the client is dummy, and let's say the last name is lead. And let's say the last name is user. Here we have the company name. So let's say the company or the business name of this client is Sparkle Events. Let's say the email is sparkle@pablitudes.com. Here we have the address. So I'm going to enter a random address over here, a random phone number. And let's say the service in which the client is interested is digital advertising. Now I'm going to simply click on submit. As we have done that, the form is submitted. So let's go back towards Pabbly Connect. We will wait for a few seconds over here to capture the response. And the response is captured. Over here we have received all the details, so let us start reading them one by one. First of all, we have the type of service in which the client is interested. That is very important, digital advertising. We have the phone over here, that is the phone number. We have the name of the client. We have the combined name and the first name and last name separately as well. We have the ID of this client. We have the form name. Okay, you can see. Then we have some other details. This is the email of the client. We have their address, their company name, and the city and the country as well. This means our connection between Cognito Forms and Pabbly Connect is built successfully. So now every time the new form will be submitted by a new client in Cognito Forms, the response of that client with all the form submission details are going to be captured inside Pabbly Connect. Once we have set up the connection successfully, so now our objective is to create the invoice for this form submission. Okay, so here we are going to go towards our action step, and we will select our action application as Xero. So now we have to build the connection between Xero and Pabbly Connect for creating the invoices. So let's select Xero as our action application. Then we have to select the action event. What you want? I want to create an invoice. So create an invoice will be my action event. Let's click on connect. You can see we have 2 options over here to build this connection. First of all, before building the connection, you have to make sure that you are already logged into your Xero account. Then here, if you already have an existing connection, you can select that. I'm going to show you to build a new connection. So you will go towards add new connection and you will click on this connect with Xero button. As we have done that, now Pabbly Connect is asking us for the permission to access our Xero account. This is our organization data and this is the account name. Now I'm going to click on allow access because the data is 100% safe with Pabbly Connect. So do not worry. And you can see that our authorization has become successful. And the connection between Xero and Pabbly Connect is also built successfully. So now we have to just move forward. It is asking us first of all the organization. This is the organization which is already selected. That is the name as Pebbles. Alright, then it is asking us the type of invoice which you want to create. So this is a sales invoice. So I have selected that. Then we have to provide the name on the invoice. So here I'm going to provide the company name of the client as the name of the invoice. And you can see we have already received the details of the client and the company and all other details in our earlier response. So instead of entering the details manually, we will simply map the data, because mapping makes the data dynamic. When we will insert the data, the name of the invoice over here from the previous step, it will change automatically with every new response. And in this way, we are going to automate the entire process of invoice creation in Xero for every Cognito Forms submission. Because if we will enter the data manually, then it will become static and then it is not going to replace every time. Then here we have the email address. So we have also received the email. We will directly map the email as well. We will map all the details which we want to replace every time with every new response. Okay, then only we will be able to automate the process, because if we will enter the data manually, then it will become static and then it is not going to replace. Therefore, mapping is very important. Now, the next it is asking us the date. If you want to enter the due date of the invoice, you can enter it over here, but I am going to ignore this field currently because I'm just creating the invoices to collect the payments. When the form is going to be submitted, I want to send an invoice to the client, and when they are going to make the payment, then only I will provide the consultancy services. So I do not have any kind of due date for that. So I'm just going to enter the date in this format. Let's check whether we have received the date of the form submission in this correct format only. And I just want to create the invoice on the same date when the form will be submitted. So I will just use the entry date submitted. This is the date. Okay, and it is in the correct format. As you can see, we have year, month, date, and the time. So we have entered the date. Now we'll move forward. It is asking us the line item amount types. So you have to select the amount type. So I'm going to select line have no tax, because in my services I'm not charging any tax. Okay, then here we have to select the country code, which is already selected as Indian rupee, then the currency rate, which we can ignore. Then here you have to select the status of the invoice. So I'm going to select draft. Then here we have to select the line item description. What is the item for which you are creating this invoice? So I will simply map the service for which I want to create this invoice, that is digital advertising. All right, then here we have to provide the line item quantity, because I'm providing the services. So I'm going to ignore this field. Line item unit amount, I'm going to ignore this field, and then it is asking us a line item code. Okay, so when we will enter the code of the item, automatically all the details such as the quantity, amount, etc. will be created in the invoice, because we have already created the services. As you can see in my Xero account, we have 3 services which I'm providing, and for these 3 services only I want to create the invoice, and these are the codes of each of the services. When we will have to enter the codes over here, and when the code will be mapped automatically according to the code, Xero is going to create the invoice for the product. Okay, so we will not have to enter the quantity, amount, etc. in that case. Now we have to make the code dynamic, because the client could select any of the services among these 3, whether it could be content creation, website design, or digital advertising. So we are not going to change these codes one by one. Okay, according to the service which the client has selected in the Cognito Forms, this code should be changed. In that case, as I told you, we have to use mapping method, and to use mapping in this field, we have to turn this mapping button on. Here you can see we have the code of the item. But mapping, as you know, is only possible when we will insert the data from the previous step. And in our earlier response, we have not received the code of the service. So in that case, we are going to use another step in between, that is lookup, which is going to provide the codes for each of the services so that we can map them. Okay, so let's click on this add action step button in between, and our action application over here will be lookup. Lookup table is going to help us to provide the codes for each of the services that I'm going to show you how we have to do. So we'll select action event as lookup table. Let's click on connect. Now we have to provide lookup key. For which service you want to look for the code? I want to look for the code for the service which I have received in my earlier response. So this will be the lookup key. And as we have mapped this lookup key, it will be replaced with every new response when the Cognito form will be submitted. Then you have to provide what value you want to look for. So I want to look for the codes of the services. Currently we have received this service, so it will fetch out the code for the digital advertising. But when other services will also be captured in our earlier response, we want to get the codes for them as well. So we have to provide codes for each of the services, for each of the 3 services which I am providing. So one by one we'll do that. First of all, I'm going to click on this plus sign to add 2 more fields over here. First of all, we have to enter the label. The label will be for the content creation and blogging. The first label will be for the content creation and blogging. Content creation and blogging, and it has the code as 121. 121. Then the next we have website design and development. And the code for this service is 122. The next service is digital advertising, and the code is 123. I've already entered that. So in this way, we have decided the code for each of the services. Now we are going to check for the code which we have received in our earlier response. So let's click on the save and send test request button, and you can see that we have received the code for digital advertising, which we are going to map now. So let's map the code for the item. And as we have mapped the code, now that's it. Xero is going to create the invoice according to this code. Okay, then we will scroll down and we will directly click on Save and Send Test Request button. As we have done that, the response is captured. So now I'm going to take you towards Xero. We will go towards business section and over here we have invoice. You can see that the invoice is created for Sparkle events. When I'm going to open the invoice, here you can see we have the invoice created for digital advertising. The code is also given over here. We have the description, we have the price. This is the price which I have decided for digital advertising, and here we have all the details. Okay, this means our connection between Cognito Forms and Xero is absolutely successful. So now every time the form will be submitted by a new client who is interested in any of my services, automatically invoice will be created in Xero. Once we have completed this automation successfully and we have set up the connection between Cognito Forms and Xero, I am going to take you towards Cognito Forms. We will quickly submit the form once again. So first of all, let me open the link of the form in a new tab. And I'm going to submit the form. So let's say the name of this person this time is dummy user. And let's say the company name is dummy company. So the invoice will be created with the name of the company. Okay, the email is, let's say, dummyyuser386@pabblytudes.com. We have a random address, let's say this. Phone number is, let's say, and the service this time is, let's say, content creation and blogging. Let's submit the form. As soon as we have submitted, now I'm going to take you towards Xero. We will go towards the invoice section. Here we can see that automatically, without any manual efforts, here we have the invoice. When I'm going to open the invoice, it is created with the name of dummy company, as I told you. And here we have content creation and blogging along with its code in the name of the service. We have the description, the amount which we have decided, and here we have the total amount. So this means our workflow is running absolutely fine. So you can also very easily automate the entire process of invoice creation and your finance management with the help of this automation by setting up the simple connection between Cognito Forms and Xero. So I hope this automation is clear to you. Also, it is helpful for your business. Thank you for watching. Not only these applications, but you can integrate multiple such amazing applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. Now, if you have any doubt, you can email us at support@pabbly.com. If you want to ask any doubt, you can write us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you want to ask about the pricing, you can visit this website given over here. Do not forget to share our videos, like our video, and also subscribe our channel for more such amazing automations.